Thanks so much, Esther. So welcome everyone. Great to see new faces, familiar faces. Welcome to our virtual community meeting. I'm just going to do a little bit of quick housekeeping. You should have closed caption on if you need it. If it's not on, you can turn it on if you're having any trouble with the audio. Just send us a chat if you're having issues. Let me just go ahead and show you real quick the agenda so we kind of know the plan for today. So I'm just going to do a little bit more of some housekeeping, but we have team updates. I'm excited to share some team updates with you. We'll get some project updates from Tom and I. And our favorite part is really hearing from you and getting questions and answers. So our goal and commitment is to actually start that by 6:10 so that we have at least 20 minutes. To do that, we always like to take a little group photo, and then we'll also share some calls to action. So if we're starting to run long and it's 6:10 and you all are ready to, you're not getting enough questions in, you hold us to it and we can just open up the Q&A. So that's the plan. I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing screen and get to see all of you now. Hi, everybody. So the first thing is that we talked about was team updates, and I'm just so thrilled. As you all know, there's a lot of work to be done in our community, and there's so much need for affordable housing in the near term and the long term. And so I'm happy to share that CLAM is growing. We hired a new director of operations. We have Leah here. You want to say hi, Leah? And I'm going to ask Leah real quick, what is the most interesting thing about CLAM that you've learned or that has impressed you the most over the last few weeks?
I would definitely have to say the staff and the board and the support for the community and just everyone's intellect and how compassionate everyone is. It's really inspiring.
Well, we're lucky and happy to have you, Leah. Tom, Leah, and I are in the same office, so we're using a little conference thing. Hopefully it's working. If you're having trouble hearing us, let us know. Next up, I'd also like to welcome Kayla Vasquez to the team. Many of you have already seen Kayla at some of our events. She's our new community engagement associate here at CLAM. And Kayla, if you just want to say hi and maybe share some initial impression or something that you're surprised by in working at CLAM.
Hello, everyone. I would say something that has surprised me is just the amount and the extent of the collaboration with the community and with local organizations, just how much support there is and how much we all work together. It's been really cool to collaborate on things so thoroughly.
Awesome. Thanks, Kayla. Welcome again to the team and the community. We're lucky to have you. And Kayla DeMarco, I see you here too. And I'm going to just welcome you too. Kayla DeMarco is CLAM's interim housing project manager and has a ton of experience. She's a civil engineer. We're super lucky to have her voice at the table. Kayla, what's something that's been surprising to you? And feel free to say hi to everybody.
Hi, everyone. Nice to meet you all virtually. I would say the most surprising thing is just how everybody knows everyone. And it's very cool. I live in San Francisco, and I just really like how everyone is here to support each other, and everyone's so connected in a lot of different ways. So it's really fun to be part of this.
Fantastic. Well, thanks, Kayla. We're really grateful to your work too. And I also see we have Scott Falcone here, who is helping us with a project you probably heard of, the Coast Guard. Scott, do you want to say hi and maybe share something in your impressions in working with us for the last, I think, probably over 9 months?
Of course. Yeah. Thanks, Jared. Hi, everyone. Yeah, I mean, a lot of board members will be surprised to hear that I'm surprised about this, but I'm surprised how much progress we've made on the Coast Guard in the last year. We're a point or two maybe away from getting state funding and having a go of it. So that's pretty amazing. And yeah, thanks to all the work that CLAM and the partners have been doing. That's why we're here.
Thanks, Scott. Yeah, we're anxiously awaiting. We'll hear more from Tom and Scott in a Coast Guard update here shortly. And then I'd like to also invite Kat Brzezina to say hi. Kat's helping CLAM with our communications. So Kat, over to you, and maybe something that's been surprising or interesting to you since you started.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. I'm glad to be joining you for this meeting. I would say what surprises me is um, this group's ability to work so fast and yet so thoughtful at the same time. It takes real skill to be moving at the pace that CLAM is moving to try to address all the needs in the community and still constantly be thinking about how people are receiving information and getting their updates and just wanting to ensure everybody continues to feel part of this great family and community. So it's been wonderful to be part of, and I'm glad to hopefully get to know many of you in the coming weeks and months.
Fantastic. Thanks, Kat. Welcome. And I'd like to thank CLAM's board members, past and present, for being here. If you're on camera, maybe just wave and say hi. And these are community members. These are folks you know, you see at Palace Market, and we're grateful for their volunteerism and time, and for past board members for even making it so that CLAM exists and having this audacious idea to do permanent housing, permanent affordable housing over 20 years ago. Thanks to them and the seeds they've planted, we are all here today looking at how we can grow more affordable housing in the region. So I guess what we'll do next is we're going to go into the agenda. So we have some project updates. Tom, Scott, I'll open it up for Coast Guard. Tom, you can lead the way, and then Scott and I can chime in. But you want to share some of the news with Coast Guard?
Yeah, absolutely. We are waiting to hear back from the state HCD, the Housing and Community Development Department, about whether or not we're going to receive CERNA funding. CERNA funding is a farm worker housing program. If awarded, we would be committing just under half the units to farm workers and their families. The awards are expected to go out in August. We've had a couple of hiccups. They docked us a couple of points for something that we then appealed, and we gained the points back. Just a little mix up in their understanding of our paperwork, but we're still in the running, and in the next few weeks, we should know whether or not we receive this 11.5 million. And if successful, that would allow us to apply for tax credits this February. And then 6 months after that, we would intend to break ground. So we see a path forward, and hopefully we receive some good news in the next few weeks. We just had a great meeting this morning with our architect and engineers on site. We're trying to look through, see the existing conditions, see what we can keep, see what needs to be put in new. And I'm really excited to have some really great team members working on this project with us. And as Scott said, we have made a lot of progress. Doesn't look like it if you go to the site, but we're making good steps towards making this project happen.
Scott, anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would just say that $11.5 million is a lot, and it really focused our county financing partners and the county regulatory agencies and the Marine Community Foundation. I mean, really, a lot of these major partners came together to support CLAM in the application that we put together for the state, because it is such a valuable resource that we're going after. So I guess I would just say that it's not only a lot of money, but a lot of focus and energy that this really brought towards this, critical funding source. So, and that's been edifying, and I think just represents how much support CLAM and Eden have for the Coast Guard undertaking.
Thanks, Scott. Perfect. Yeah, I've been really impressed. So fingers crossed that we get great news from the state sometime next month. The sooner the better. And we are working on contingency planning if we get not good news. We're all hoping that we get good news. So we will keep you all posted on updates there. I want to shift to what is on a lot of our minds, which is, as you all know, we're facing an acute crisis of about 40 families facing imminent displacement from our community at Martinelli Ranch and Seashore. I just want to reiterate and underscore that while CLAM has said this, and we'll say it again, we can't do it alone. This is a community-based effort. There is unprecedented collaboration between West Marin Fund, Marin Community Foundation, our county partners, West Marin Community Services, other local nonprofits. This is a shared regional effort. Not to mention that there's families living in interim housing currently in Bolinas. So 70 families in total in our small region, you know, have a lot of housing uncertainty. And so CLAM is focused on Martinelli and Seashore. And so I just want everybody to know that when I first started in this role around middle of last year, and we started to have these challenges ahead of us, I think all of us were concerned about the level and pace required, and that we still have that concern. It weighs heavy on our shoulders, and we are seeing a pathway to meeting the moment and supporting these households across various sites. There are, you know, a handful of sites. No one site solves this for either interim or permanent housing. Even if we get the Coast Guard, there still needs to be solutions growing to address the affordable housing crisis, even if we get that done in the next couple of years. A few of the ones that we are looking at as potential pathways are 6th and B, also known as the CAF lot. We're just referring to it as 6th and B. We're partnering with the county to explore ways that CLAM and the county can work together to stand up interim housing by Q1 of next year is the goal and intention. Many of you are aware of the emergency shelter declaration that was passed by the County Board of Supervisors in March of this year, with a focused intent on avoiding the displacement of families at Martinelli and Seashore. So CLAM, county, and other partners are working together on moving that forward. There's a critical board vote on August 26th for the Board of Supervisors, which we will be sharing with everyone more information about. But in that vote, there will be, at minimum, a couple of agreements around how we were going to partner to stand this collaboration up. We are still in the design phase of what the interim housing on the site and eventually the potential permanent housing could even look like based on septic capacity. Anybody who knows in West Marin knows that that's where it starts. It starts with what's your septic capacity. And while there are some leniencies on general permitting, we need to adhere to regular EHS standards and codes. I want to stop there and just see, Tom, anything you want to add or other than what I've said?
It's a great group of 5 or 6 projects that we've come up with that we think we can actually rehouse all these families. It's a very ambitious timeline, but we're seeing a lot of support from the community, as folks have mentioned already. People are really leaning into this batch of solutions, and we're excited.
Perfect. It's a big lift, you know. It's our estimates are, in order to, with a variety of solutions, house 40 families, it could be close to a total cost of $20 million in this small region. Now, we are making considerable progress, which I can share more about in the weeks and months ahead. But it is a big lift. I'm so grateful to the support that we have in collaboration with the county, MCF, West Marin Fund. The community is leaning in. And I think that we're leaning in at a time that folks living at Martinelli and Seashore need valid reasons for hope. Many folks who live at the seashore are having to make decisions about, do they continue to lean in here in this community, or do they need to pick somewhere else where their kids can go to school with a predictable place to live? These are the types of household decisions that are being made right now. And so we don't take that lightly, and we are moving as quick as we can, and seeing some great opportunities and solutions we're looking at. I guess we have some other broader updates. That includes an invitation to a painting party. We did close on this property on 2nd Street, right behind Cheetah, or Western, excuse me, right behind the Western. So we are going to be doing some painting and repairs there. We have, we'll tell you more about the painting party, but we're anticipating it being available in the next couple of months, and more details to follow on that process. But that's a property that we closed on. Tom, do you want to share updates on 3rd Street?
Yeah, so a few months ago, we did get our entitlement package for Third Street, and then we are entitled to build what will be a 3-unit property. So taking it from one existing single-family household to 3 units. So that's pretty exciting. We have the next steps involve getting the building permits. We have the plan set in the hands of our structural engineer who's designing kind of the nuts and bolts of the project. And once we have that, we can break ground. And hopefully that'll be soon, later this year. And then we have our Second Street property, as Jared was mentioning, behind the Western and Cheetahs. That is currently under construction right now. Some remodeling work needed to be done, upgraded appliances, new electrical, new paints, and we're asking for a little bit of help painting. So this upcoming Monday, 1 to 7 p.m., we're going to do a little bit of a painting party. Anybody's welcome to come. Doesn't matter if you're a skilled painter or not. We'll partner you up with somebody who knows how to paint, and we'll get the place all clean and buttoned up and ready for new residents.
Perfect. Thanks, Tom. Well, that concludes our updates, and as promised, we got done well before 6:10. I also see that we have I just got to recognize that we have CLAM's past and current board presidents on the call too, and I just wanted to have Lynn say hi to everybody too. So Lynn and Pamela are both on. Pamela is our past board president, and Lynn is our current. So maybe you both could just say hi and anything that's on your mind before we go to Q&A.
Hi, everybody. I'm really glad to see so many people on this call, and it's great that we can bring the community together and talk about what projects are happening. And of course, as Jared mentioned, there's progress daily, if not hourly. So as much as we can be in front of you and answer questions, we want to keep everybody abreast of all the great things that are happening. And I'm just super proud to be a part of this board and to give some of my time, as well as everybody else on the board, to the community and see how we can make some change happen here. So thanks for all of your contribution, and hope to see you guys out with all the volunteer work too.
Thanks, Lynn. And Pamela, are you missing like all my pestering texts and questions? Now
No,
that those are going
actually, I thought we agreed that I wasn't going to have to talk at these anymore. So anyway, hi everyone. I'm still here because I care very much. I'm still helping from the sidelines, but I'm thrilled to have Lynn in charge of the board.
It takes a village, as this whole Zoom shows. So we need everybody's support.
Yeah, I couldn't help myself, Pamela. When I saw you both here, I know we'd agreed, so I'd like to give me one pass. All right.
Couple more shout outs, Jared. We have Kathleen here. Kathleen Dorenson's on the board. Steve Antonaris. We have Sarah Myers. And anybody else I'm seeing here? I think that's it. And then, of course,
We have
the great staff.
Susan Brayton, our former board member, Susan Brayton's on as well, sitting with Kim and Stephanie. Yeah. And Nancy Vanger is a former board member. Yeah.
Great.
Yeah. All right, well, let's go ahead and open it up to my favorite part, which is hearing from you and hearing your questions, everybody.
How do you want us to queue up for questions?
Oh, that's great, Stephanie. I mean, this is kind of speaking up like that's great. If you want to raise your hand, either one is totally good.
Okay.
Yeah. Hi.
All right. Hi, maybe I'll start then. Thanks, Jared, and all of you on the call. You know, I'm just on the call, I think with at least one, maybe two others from the homeowners association that is across the street from and abuts the CAF lot. And, you know, we've had a couple of conversations with CLAM and appreciate, you know, there's finally an opportunity for us to talk about what our questions and concerns are. And it's great to know the community writ large supports this. We also support having affordable housing. Our questions have always been the numbers that you're talking about on a very small plot, and there's a large number of people in that cul-de-sac already because of Walnut Place and because of some of the service agencies. So we, you know, our concerns remain about the numbers, and I think it's difficult for us to support this vote on August 26th without knowing what the numbers are going to be. Like, the thought of 16 families on that small lot seems very unrealistic to us and unfair to us as their neighbors. And we all want to create a welcoming kind of situation. So I'm just here to kind of share that and for the broader community to know that there've been, questions we still haven't gotten answers to about numbers and the sort of very fast timeline and the utilities and the septic and all of the things. So, and I do know we were encouraged to reach out to board members of CLAM, but then we were also told not to email anybody except the current president and staff. So, we really want the opportunity. There isn't a lot of time to have these conversations. So I appreciate your having this meeting today, and I'm probably an outlier, but I'm also probably one of the few people who is living directly across the street.
Yeah, no, I appreciate you attending, Stephanie, and this is what these community efforts are about, right? So I guess let me just start with, so what Stephanie is referencing is that when the initial proposal went before the Board of Supervisors for CLAM in the county to potentially partner on this, they referenced 12 to 16 units, right? Stephanie, is what I think something that started to concern residents. And that really was an estimate that was put there by the county without us having the septic analysis that I referred to, that you all know that we were looking at very closely and taking very seriously. And I understand from a homeowner living nearby that this creates uncertainty, and we've had some meetings since then. And what I would just say, Stephanie, is that what our target is by mid-August, before the Board of Supervisors meeting, is to meet with the neighboring organizations and community members that live around 6th and B. And my hope is to share some updates on with some specifics, and then potentially some renderings that have been vetted by the county as seeming viable. What we don't want to do is share something that hasn't been ground truth with the county yet, and then we change it again, right? So we're being thoughtful and deliberate and moving as fast as we can. But I will say that we're making progress, and Tom, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think we are in a place where we can at least start to show some concepts by mid-August before the Board of Supervisors meeting, Stephanie. So that's one. Totally hear you, makes total sense. So hold us to that. And in fact, I have a hold on my calendar that we just set today that we're going to share with the HOA and the other neighboring community organizations. And so we'll share that with you ASAP. In terms of communicating to the whole board, I think it's totally reasonable that it's sent to Lynn and I, and we commit to sharing that with the full board. So we're not trying to block you. It's just, that's the way that we've agreed that things can come in and go to the whole board, because we also want to, honor their personal information. So that I just want to address that is merely to streamline information going to the board with no other intent than that. And having it come from, and so we can all look at the same thing together and not look at different things. So I would invite the HOA to continue to craft a shared message, and we can have that shared message shared with the board. So by all means, I think I addressed some of the main concerns.
You did.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks.
absolutely. Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Yeah, and just to echo that, Stephanie, I just wanted to make sure that you knew that we do, and yeah, exactly what Jared said, is we want to share everything from your group and anybody else on this in the community, that we will share all of that with the board. So it's more about efficiencies and people on and off the board and keeping up with everybody on new emails and then protecting other people's privacy. So, but as a board, we do view everything. So just to ensure that, that.
Thanks, Lynn.
Yeah,
Appreciate
you're
it.
welcome.
Thanks, Stephanie. Next question. This is where my professor days of awkward silence come in play.
An interesting note, historical note. The property adjacent to the Cough lot was originally built to be affordable housing. That's good. I think you should say that. No, we're on, you're on.
Did you?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, I'm saying something, sorry. We're having a little conversation here as well. But I just want to say that the housing that Stephanie has referred to historically was originally built to be affordable housing. And because of the paperwork that they put together, this did not get into the paperwork. And so it's actually kind of an ironical thing that it is now no longer affordable.
Which speaks to why 6th and B really needs to happen as an affordable community.
Yeah, and just to say that it's not, the objection isn't to it being affordable. Our questions have been about numbers. Capacity on a very small piece of land. The homeowners association about which I'm speaking was an affordable housing association. Most of the members are still the original members, some of whom worked at that ranch a long time ago. So this is not about an objection to affordable housing. It's about questions of capacity. And yeah, just to clarify that for you, Susan and Kim. Okay, thanks. Yeah. But I think we do have to wait and see, because it's just kind of what Jared is saying, and your voice will probably be heard regarding that.
Yeah. Well, thanks, Susan, for the background, and I do, my sincere hope for Stephanie and the HOA is that as they see the progress that's made, and we're maybe reducing the amount of uncertainty that they're experiencing, that hopefully it's easier to support the project. So that's my hope, and I really appreciate the background, Susan, and I think it's coming to a place, from what I've seen, I'm very inspired, and I hope that everyone in the community is as well, as we start to make progress on what it can actually look like and be able to share that with the community. Mark Switzer, over to you.
Oh, thanks. So I'm a neighbor of 6 and B, and I'm really excited about this possibility because I think the neighborhood will become enlivened. I'm actually quite curious that Kayla, I believe it's Kayla DeMarco, is the person that would have a big role in sort of the infrastructure of the installation of the housing. And I'm wondering, has there been much thought yet about the process of leasing it up? I mean, it's one thing to get it all in place, but it's another then going into a selection process. And is there any preference? I mean, is that part of Kayla DeMarco's task, or is CLAM going to be more directly involved, for example, with Familias Afectadas de Rancho and the people directly that are the obvious potential candidates? Because I think once you put a human face on the families that are going to reside there, it's going to show how wonderful it's going to be, how interesting it's going to be. That's my comment. Question.
Thanks, Mark. Kayla, you want me to start on that one? Kayla DeMarco? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah, and Tom, feel free to fill in, but yeah, Mark, so because we're looking across various sites that have different sizes of potential units, for number of units for, again, 40 affected families between Martinelli Seashore and Martinelli Ranch and Seashore, that we are going to be coordinating resident selection and processes for placement. But because the timing of some of the different units, we're going to be triaging as something comes online. We look at how we place and make that available to displaced families on the ranches. So the answer is yes, and it's actually a matrix across various sites, not just 6th and B. And our hope is that our goal is Q1 of this year to have it up and running. Now that's like light speed for any type of housing, even interim housing. It's a big ambitious goal, and we really want to try and get it in before the end of the year to have it all up and running. But the short answer is on that portfolio of solutions that we're looking at for the nearly 40 families, as opportunities come up that are ready for move-in, we then triage among the 40 families. And that is not a simple process, as you can imagine. And I fully agree with you that as we humanize when we say a unit of housing, it's a livelihood for a family and security in our community. It's a huge deal. And so I'm so excited to start to provide stability for these households and to remain in the community, and also for the community to see actual families in these units. So thanks, Mark, for the point. Hopefully I addressed your question, but if you have a follow on, that's totally okay. Feel free. Yeah, Mark, back to you.
Well, it's a follow on. Is it conceivable to do some work right now in qualifying, gathering? I understand the total uncertainty of what these families will decide to do and when they'll have to make decisions. And in my experience with Point Reyes Affordable Homes, the process of leasing up, and maybe you're not going to be encumbered by housing, about fair housing laws to the same extent that you might be the Coast Guard housing, for example. I'm just anxious that there is a lot of work, as much work as possible done to be prepared to get people into those units as soon as possible, because that's the urgency, it seems to me. In other words, it's almost more important to have qualified the interest in the prospect of tenancy rather than pairing the pool of potential residents once the units are turnkey. That's my view.
Yeah, I'm with you, Mark, and maybe it's not so much that it's turnkey and move-in ready, but more that we have a predictable move-in date that is solid, is probably maybe a little bit of the edit I would make in what I said before. Tom, anything else you want to add?
Yeah, when it comes to resident selection, we have been meeting with the families of both Martinelli and the Seashore, and we have a census of all the families and their household sizes that live on Martinelli and for the Seashore that's currently underway. And that's helping us to sort of craft this portfolio of projects. I know that there's fear of high density on the site at 6 and B, and that's very reasonable. We don't want to put the biggest of the families there. So some of the other projects that we're working on are expressly to find housing for those families that have a household size of 5, 6, or 7. So we know who we intend to house, and we're meeting with them regularly and keeping them informed and trying to set reasonable expectations of when we might be able to deliver these units.
Thanks, Tom. All right. Mark is satisfied with that answer. Nicely done. Next question.
And feel free to type your questions in the chat if you'd rather.
Yeah, do we have
Stephanie's hand is up.
Oh, yeah, thanks. Yeah, this is a lot of great information. Thank you. I have a question about the Coast Guard and the CERDNA funding. That'd be so great. Obviously, that came through. Do you have any sense of the likelihood of it? Maybe you don't. And also, if it doesn't come through, what's the trajectory then for financing?
Scott, do your tea leaves have any readings that you want to share?
They have a lot of readings, but I don't want to share any of them because I'm afraid they'd be misleading. I mean, I guess what I would say is that we are in a better position now than when we applied, knowing the score and knowing the relative score, and having gone through the gauntlet that Jared and Tom mentioned of the state review and moving us down and then moving us back up and certifying basically our scoring. But I will also say that initially we knew that it was going to be very, very competitive, and it is. And so I think we're right on the margin, really. I mean, if we had a couple of more points, I think we would have a very rosy view of our chances. But I think we're really on the margin, which makes it hard, because if we don't make it, it's going to be, it's going to be because we were so close and we just didn't. But that also makes it very difficult to give a percentage of success at this point.
And then the part about what if it doesn't come through, is there a backup plan?
Yeah, that's back to Jared.
Yeah, I mean, it is, while we're also working hard to fundraise for displaced ranch families for immediate solutions, this might layer onto it, Stephanie, to try to fill it. What our goal is that, again, the goal right now is to have a competitive application for the federal tax credit. And so if $11+ million fall out from the state funding, we need to get a pretty large number in somehow well before the February application. Otherwise, we have to then wait for another federal application, say 6 to 9 months later, right? There's one in February, I think there's another one in July.
Yep.
Yeah, so
later in the year,
we just want to be really transparent with the community of when is this February is the opportunity to not have the Coast Guard take any longer. And so we will keep communicating everything we can to keep that timeline, which might be a large number gap. Now those can be, my understanding is that the money doesn't have to be in the bank to CLAM or Eden or the partnership. It's a commitment letter. So if we have to do a backup sprint fundraiser, Stephanie, try it with our partners. We go to the county, we go to MCF, we go to West Marin Fund, we go to our community and we say, this is the best we can do of the minimum goal that gets us a competitive application. Will we all rally together to fill the gap that's left by CERNA? Hopefully, Scott, I'm conveying that correctly, Tom, but
Yeah, and to add to that, it'd be really nice to have the project fully funded as designed, but there are possibilities to kind of chip away at some of the features and improvements that we intend to make. So the project that we've submitted and the budget that goes along with it is the project as designed to be its best self. And we would love to see that happen, but there might be some downgraded equipment, maybe downgraded finishes, maybe we'll tone back the remodeling a little bit so that we can hopefully apply in February with what we do have.
Scott, anything to add?
Yeah, I would just add two things. I mean, Jared framed it. The CERNA is the silver bullet. And if we don't have a silver bullet, then we need a lot of different areas of contribution. And it's also, it's not unusual for development proposals like this to go through and try to apply for very competitive funding and then go back to the partners who have already funded it and say, we're not coming back to you because we haven't tried. We're coming back to you because it's so competitive out there. And for this to be viable, we need to look at it a little bit differently. And that's how we would have to pivot, basically. So yeah.
Thanks, Scott. Stephanie, is that good answers? I mean, maybe not good, but sufficient.
Yeah, I mean, as a former fundraiser for CLAM, yeah, I get all the complications of it, but yeah.
Yeah, great. Thanks, Stephanie. Next question. We've got time. We still have 15 minutes if y'all want to use it together, share it. So feel free to ask other questions. Yeah, Susan. Over to you. Oh, Susan Scott, you're muted.
Yeah, sorry. Somebody may have already said this and I just may have missed it, but I'm just wondering if any of the changes in Trump's, housing policy is impacting the Coast Guard? Like that, particularly Section 8 stuff. I mean, weren't you planning to get a Section 8 project-based Section 8? Is that
Yeah.
going to be
I can
impacted?
start us off and then Scott and Tom can fill in, but one of the reasons that Cerna also presents a silver bullet, Susan, is because we couldn't get vouchers for the project because there just aren't enough in the county. It's oversubscribed. So we sort of sprinted to get very creative about how could we fill an $8+ million operating gap due to not being able to get the number of vouchers that we wanted, and a little over a dozen was what we were looking for the property. And so fortunately, especially if we get Cerna, we aren't as concerned about the vouchers and getting this over the construction finish line. I don't know, Tom or Scott, if there's anything you want to add, but that's what my initial thoughts are.
Yeah, I mean, tax credits are federal funding, and who knows what will happen, but these are tax credits that benefit people who have a high tax burden and want to see that reduced. When there will be massive cuts to taxes, people will have a lower tax burden, and the demand for these tax credits will likely go down. There's a market in which they're sold essentially. You might get 92, 93 cents on the dollar. It might drop due to the reduced demand, but it is an old Reagan program that had bipartisan support and continues to have that same support. So I can't guarantee that it will still be around by the time we need it, but currently there haven't been any cuts to the program. Scott, anything to add to that?
No, I mean, I think that is generally, that's the scene on the federal level, and the tax credits aren't going away, like Tom said, but they are likely to be less valuable to large corporations who now have a lower tax burden. So that's part of the issue. But we can solve that if we get there.
Thanks, Tom. Thanks, Scott. Mark, back to you.
I'm curious. So Scott, apparently is leading the effort for the Cerna funding, and I haven't really registered. Scott, are you working directly with CLAM, or are you working with and for Eden, or how involved is Eden in this process? It seems to me that if they're not directly involved in fundraising and CLAM is having to manage this, it's a big ask for a small organization. I would think Eden would have a lot added capability of doing some fundraising, or at least preparing for contingencies, etc.
Yeah, I'll take this one. Scott is an advisor to CLAM, so he represents CLAM's interests. And Eden has been a fantastic partner when it comes to applying for funding. So they have secured quite a bit at the federal level through community development block grants, through federal earmarks. They've been very helpful. We worked very collaboratively when it came to applying for money through the county. It's funding that CLAM and I am familiar with. So that's the Measure W and Housing Trust money and the essential donation of the land. That's about $14 million from the county. Eden's been there every step of the way. They've been a great partner. And when it comes to the Cerna funding, that is a very challenging technical application with about 140 supporting documents that go along with it. And they were there every step of the way and made sure we got what we needed. And they're very mindful of the challenges of these state funding requirements, and they know what gets us points and what reduces points, and they've done their best to create a really competitive application. It's been a really good collaboration between CLAM and Eden. I really enjoy working with our partners at Eden Housing. They really do know their stuff. They have over 12,000 housing units in the Bay Area, and it shows when working with them that they're very familiar and comfortable with all these major decisions and applications, and they really do have the experience that CLAM needed for this project. And for the tax credit application itself requires that an entity already has previous experience with tax credits. So CLAM wouldn't have been eligible on its own to submit for this. So we needed Eden to come in, and they really have stepped up, and they've been a great partner.
And I'll just add, and Scott, I'll invite you to share anything that's coming to mind too. But what's great, Mark, is that Scott has exactly the experience in these kind of co-development schemes where there's two partners, and Scott, you generally have been representing like the junior partner in this. So what he also does is has a lot of experience helping keep a big ship like Eden focused on the project and moving forward and leaning in. So that where that is new to Tom and myself. I mean, Tom has been critical in stewarding this project through for years now. Thank you, Tom. Sincerely, I think we all owe Tom a debt of gratitude of how hard he's been working on this. And then Scott, anything you just want to add about the CLAM Eden dynamic from your experience view?
I mean, I think everything that you and Tom said represents exactly how our approach to working with Eden. And yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. That's exactly how I would talk about it too.
Well, one example, Mark, is like when we were trying to get, I can't remember which, it's all a bit of a blur, but we were trying to get one application in, and Sarah Allen is basically Tom and I's counterpart at Eden. And she drove across the Bay Area to get designs to the county in time to get some extra points on the application. Like it's that level of, and all of the different meetings that we have with Supervisor Rodoni, and with the different applications. So yeah, they're very engaged, and they bring a lot of experience to bear, and then Scott helps us keep the pressure on them. Any other questions? We still have some time.
I have a question.
Yeah, Susan.
I'm just wondering what the role is now of the West Marin Housing Collaborative, and how are they involved with CLAM? I think people are so a little confused about what's going on in that regard.
Yeah, absolutely, Susan. Thanks for the question. So we do have some shared team members that are helping together. So we have some development strategy, and we're also looking at how can we, I think the most important thing that I would share is that we're looking together at how can we, how over the next 5 to 10 years, how can we scale affordable housing to help us avoid the types of crises that have hit recently? Like, how can we do more together? Right? Like if for anybody that's read the Housing Action Study, that we're in a bit of a challenging time, and it's going to take ambition to get to another place of options for housing security, for a vibrant local workforce that lives where they work, that their families can grow here. So really what I would say the most important thing we're looking at, Susan, with the West Marin Housing Collaborative is how do we grow together in our impact, and how do we create more permanently affordable housing across the region? And I'm really heartened by the ambition that we're seeing, and also if there is any silver lining out of this crisis of the last few years of 70 ranch families facing displacement, is that I think it is getting all of our attention that we need to do so much more. And we need to do it this year, and we need to do it for the next 5, 10, 15 years. And so that's where I'm really heartened by the spirit of collaboration, not just with the West Marin Housing Collaborative as fellow local land trusts in West Marin. For those of you not aware, there's essentially 4, not technically 4 land trusts, but there's the Bolinas Community Land Trust in the Bolinas area. There's the Stinson Beach Affordable Housing Committee, which collaborates very closely with Bolinas. There's the Two Valleys Community Land Trust at San Geronimo Valley and Nicasio Valley, and then CLAM, the Community Land Trust Association of West Marin, which generally most of our properties are focused around Tomales Bay, with one property in Stinson Beach. That's a bit of a historic anomaly, but also a great win for the community. But what I'd say is, yes, there are those entities, Susan, and that there's an unprecedented level of collaboration, not just with the affordable housing organizations, but with West Marin Fund, with Marin Community Foundation, with the county, and also in these entities like the Coalition for Housing All Workers and Their Families. Like when I attend certain West Marin Fund events now that have all the nonprofit leaders, it to me feels like a community planning session or an economic planning session for the next not 5 months, but how might we keep working together for the next 5 to 10 years? It's the same spirit that I'm feeling when I go to the Point Reyes Village Association meetings, and we're all trying to get out of silos and how do we offer a true continuum of services, amenities, vibrancy for generations to come. So I'm super inspired. I know it similarly creates some uncertainty, and there's a ton of strategic alignment developing. So we've got 5 minutes left. Susan, was that a decent answer?
Yes, thank you.
You're
Okay.
very welcome. We'll keep you all posted. There's good developments happening, and really even the housing collaborative, we're also focused pretty squarely on our helping with the ranch displacement issues in the near term, and then we can circle back on broader term vision as we stabilize these households. Why don't we go to an events update? And I think, who's going to lead the events update for us? I'll bring up the slides. Give me 1 second. We've got some events coming up.
Yeah, I can talk about our upcoming events.
Thanks.
As Jared and Tom mentioned earlier, next Monday, August 4th, we're gonna have another volunteer day at our Second Street property. It's gonna be a painting party. Yeah, we're gonna be painting the inside of the units. We're gonna have snacks, pizza, there'll be music. Should be fun. The CLAM team is gonna be there from 1 to 8, so anybody feel free to stop by and join us. And then the following Saturday, August 9th, is the Inverness Fair. CLAM is gonna have a booth there. We're gonna be selling pies, homemade by community members, so if anyone wants to bake and donate a pie or donate your time and help us run the table, you can email me. I will drop my email in the chat. Yeah, and all this information is also going to be on our website as well under the events page. The following Saturday after the fair, August 16th, we're going to have our second Coffee with CLAM. It's going to be on the back lawn at the Dance Palace. We're going to start at 10 a.m. There's going to be coffee and donuts, and yeah, it's going to be a great opportunity for you guys to hear some updates from us, hear from the CLAM team, for us to hear from you. Our first Coffee with CLAM, I'm sure a lot of you were there. It was a great success, and we're really excited to start doing those regularly. And then our last event on the calendar is our fall celebration. A lot of you probably got an email today, an invitation to that. That's going to be Sunday, September 14th. We are going to have lots of really good food, live music, art activities. Yeah, we just really want to celebrate the community, the support that we've gotten during this crazy year. So please RSVP for that. And you can RSVP for Coffee with CLAM as well. And again, all that information and the registration links will be on our website.
Perfect. Thanks, Kayla. And Leah's going to drop that we have all the events page with all the events. So Leah said she'd drop that in there for us in case anybody wants to register or visit that page now. Susan Scott, over to you. Sorry, you're muted, Susan.
Sorry. Is the community celebration the same as the annual meeting where we elect board members and stuff?
Yeah, we'll have a business section at the start of the community celebration. Yeah. Good question. Any other questions on the events? No? Okay. I think that concludes the meeting. What we would love to do is do a group photo. So I would just invite everybody who feels comfortable to turn off their camera. I'm going to turn on the music, and we'll just have a little outro photo together. Let me stop the share. And it's great to see everybody. Yeah, look at that. Everybody's taking their cameras out. That's great. All right, so I think Yesenia, are you gonna take a photo? Are you good?
Yes, I'll take a photo. If everyone's ready, and 1, 2, 3, smile.
All
I'll
right.
take one more.
Awesome. Feel free to wave or do, if you want to, like, if you're feeling like you want to do something wild, like go ahead, or we can all. Maybe I'm the only one that's feeling kind of a little like I need to go eat dinner. My blood sugar's low. Well, good to see everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Thanks for your support of affordable housing in West Marin. The staff, the board, we are grateful for all of your help and all that you do to support the mission. Hope you all have a great night.
Thank you for everything, Clem. Thank you thanks, Jared.
Thanks,
Bye.
Jared.